All right, we'd like to welcome everybody to week 4. Cowboys Ride for Free picks from Joe's, and returning from a 1-week sabbatical in parts unknown is the venerable King, who, by the way, everybody, is on Twitter. If you can find him, welcome to him. He is there. And he may even, before the evening's out, he might actually usher in his first tweet if he hasn't done so already. But King's back home and in the house. All right. Okay. So without further ado, we got kind of a light slate this week. We're into some bye weeks here at the beginning of the season after non-conference play and sort of in the midst of non-conference play. So we've only got 5 games on the Big 12 schedule. And without question, the least interesting, the game could potentially be interesting if you're into like voyeurism. We've talked about this before. If you're into watching bad, brutal, beat up, death choking porn or something. I don't know. It's Kansas is at Rutgers. And honest to goodness, I don't even know what to say about that.
I mean, I don't even know if for it to be like bondage, beat up porn, somebody has to be the man in the relationship. You can't have 2 submissives and make a porno. Somebody's got to be a dominant.
Yeah. I'm not seeing. I'm definitely not seeing any dominance here. This is bad football. It's going to beat up on non-existent football. Essentially.
The only thing even relatively interesting is the fact that Rutgers football is currently like teetering on a cliff. Their coach is suspended for impermissible contact. They've had like 10 players arrested on felony charges in 5 days. Will they have a team left to field by Saturday?
Well, the fewer people that are there, the more that Kansas actually might have a chance to keep it close.
I mean, if you're a Rutgers player, like robbing people and selling drugs is your only hope for a future, so you might as well get good at it.
Yeah. What is Memphis is playing Cincinnati tonight? Did you see? You were talking about that earlier. Did you see the score on that game?
20-21 Memphis.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of good for Kansas, right? Memphis is not rolling over and dying. So yeah. At least they got lit up last week by a team that can score points. You got Rutgers favored by 14, over under $65, and there's 336 tickets available on StubHub for $26 starting at $26. So
is that in Lawrence?
No, it's at Rutgers.
Okay. One of these days, I'm going to go to a Kansas football game at home because I want to see what The Walking Dead actually look like.
Oh, my God.
I was about to say the only good thing to come out of Kansas is Boulevard beer, but doesn't it come from Missouri, actually? Isn't it Kansas City, Missouri?
It could be.
So, so still nothing good coming from Kansas.
So, basically nothing good coming from Kansas, except Bill Snyder. Okay.
I hate him because he's a good dude.
All right. The next least interesting game on the agenda, and this is I just cannot get fired. I mean, I just can't get fired up about this game. Maryland at West Virginia. Look at this. 392 tickets still available, starting at $124. Why in the hell would you pay $124 to go watch this football game? Even if you were drunk and had 20 couches to burn, why in the world would you go $124 to watch this football game?
I get that. Aren't they trying to turn this into like a rivalry game?
Well, they are. I mean, I guess they're trying to, but what the hell? They're going to get the backyard brawl back. Nobody. I mean, those Pittsburgh and West Virginia hate each other like, oh my God, like Briles hates or like Patterson hates Briles.
That's what. If you're going to try to, you have an actual rival, but now you're trying to make one up.
Yeah.
Like, go find your real rival because the only thing really to hate about Maryland, remember those hideous uniforms they had?
Oh, the helmets. The helmets are awful.
Yeah. So now Maryland is the only thing that'd be entertaining is if they win. Just because I'd like to see Dana Holgerson face.
The hair. We want to
Oh,
see the
yeah.
hair. The hair, you know, all over the place.
He'd been
Looking
eating
like
a snack or two that night.
Yeah, that's that I don't know what they're trying to do there, but Maryland's not good anyway. They got lit up by Bowling Green, who lost to Tennessee. So please, this is West Virginia's favored by 17. Over under's 57, and that's low. Kidding me? That's got to be a low over under.
Unless they're only expecting Maryland to score about 5.
Yeah, it must be. I
West
think
Virginia
Maryland, I
put
think
40
will
up.
score at least a few points. I think, but
Yeah.
anyway, on to a game that the only reason it didn't land in the bottom 2 of least interesting games of the week is because one of the teams can't seem to stay out of the headlines. We have the Rice Owls visiting Baylor. Now, I got a question. You think Baylor had an assistant coach on the sidelines of the last Rice game checking them out?
Didn't they play Texas? No, that was Cal. I don't know if they did. Nobody noticed. It's Rice.
That is that. Oh, I love this. The tickets remaining on StubHub for the Kansas Rutgers game are $1 more than the tickets remaining for the Rice Baylor game. And there are 1,283 tickets available on StubHub for Rice Baylor. Get out the tarp, baby.
they get rid of the tarp. They built a huge stadium, but they're still Baylor. I just drove past that hellhole 24 hours ago.
Oh, yes.
Coming back home, greatest day of my life. I love seeing McLean Stadium from the south because that means I'm leaving. I've been on Twitter for about 3 days now, and I've learned 2 things today. One, there's a rumor going around that there is a Baylor player who is either about to be indicted by a grand jury or already has been, a new one. Saw that. The more interesting one I saw, though, is apparently Lane Kiffin has been giving it to Saban's daughter.
Oh, that was huge on Twitter today. Huge. Well, it was between it was either a booster's wife, I think, or Saban's daughter. And they're all kind of honing in on that. And what's interesting about that, I think it's interesting because there are a couple of people saying, oh, there are people who don't like Lane Kiffin. They're mad at him or whatever. So they're stirring up this rumor. And I'm sitting there going, you're mad at a dude. You scored 37 points in a loss.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the offense's fault. I mean, look at that stupid-ass pass. Yeah, that stupid-ass pass play Mississippi completed for a touchdown. What a fluke. That was like something that's like something we would have seen back in the 80s in Bedlam, for Christ's sake. Oh, yeah, that's what just an implosion that would be. That'd be something else right there. So, and if it turned out to be true that it was Saban's daughter, woo! Kiffin, you think Kiffin would be done? You think anybody would touch him after that?
Well, if it's Saban's daughter, maybe not. It'd have to be a daughter instead of a booster because I'm from Alabama. I was born in Dothan, lived there probably the first 12, 13 years of my life. I know they're boosters. If they thought that letting Saban bang their wife would help Alabama win, they'd send her to Tuscaloosa and just leave her there. Come home when the season's over, baby.
That's it. Honey, you got to take one for the team, baby.
Oh, all this we just talked about is more entertaining than the Baylor Rice game by a wide margin.
Baylor Rice, what the heck is the Baylor's laying 34.5, over under 74.5. I don't know. That over under is kind of interesting because, I mean, I bet Baylor puts up at least 50, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rice puts 20 on the board. Has
Baylor covered yet this year? They've looked like shit in the first half of every game I've seen.
You know what? I don't know. SMU, because that SMU ended up being third. I think they just missed covering on SMU, and I don't know about Lamar. Couldn't tell you. They probably didn't. They might not have covered against Lamar either. I'm not sure. But who gives a shit? It's Baylor. All right. So now we're down to the second most interesting game of the week. And this game actually fascinates me. All right. TCU at Texas Tech. All right. Tech's got some offense. Tech's is going to, that Mahomes is playing really well. TCU has like 3 scholarship players left on defense. And, but Tech has no defense and TCU's got a good offense. So this has got a shot at being a ridiculous game. And I personally, an over-under of 80.5, that's stupid. I mean, I'm not a gambler, but I'd be going over all day long on that. And TCU laying 6. The line is down to 6.5 now. I don't know. That's tough because if TCU wins the game, it's really likely that there's a touchdown difference. This is going to be – I don't think there's going to be a lot of field goal kicking in this game.
For one, TCU has to contend with the disease and the filth of Lubbock.
And we've seen what that did to Arkansas.
I've been there. Lubbock is actually that terrible. They pretend like it's not. It really is. I don't know though, because I haven't seen TCU. Like Minnesota, they didn't look very good. My concern, we've been in this situation before. I remember that year we went into Lubbock and we were 13 or 14 and they were like 3 or 4. And I expected that to be a hell of a game. I remember we watched that game as punishment for being OSU fans because we were down like 45-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
Lubbock's the kind of place where if you let them get rolling and the tortillas get flying, you can get in trouble real quick. But what was the absurd score from that game last year? I remember Tech fans were irate. It was some like 70-something to nothing. Let me pull that up real quick.
Yeah, let's definitely look at that. That's got to be I can't do it on the phone. That's ridiculous.
I got you here. I think I don't know. I think TCU will probably win just on because I think personally Arkansas is just trash. Jackass. Their team sucks.
Yeah, I agree with
Auburn this year.
I agree with you on that. I think Arkansas lost to Toledo, who needed overtime to beat Iowa State. That ought to tell you enough right there. So Iowa State's just as good as Arkansas. All right, let's see what we got here. TCU
82-27. They hung 82 on them.
Good God.
I think Tech's going to want to get some back on that one.
I don't know. I kind of think there's a chance Tech pulls this out, man.
I don't know. In 1 year, that's a lot of one team getting bad and another team getting better to overcome a 60-point differential. That's terrible. Was it 55?
TCU's defense is like the walking wounded. I mean, they've lost their entire linebacking. I think they've lost their entire set of starting linebackers. I think they've lost.
Safeties ever get out of jail?
Oh, I think they've lost a couple of the backups. How about Patterson taking a shot at Baylor the other day?
I enjoy some unprovoked hate. I'm a proponent of that, and God, that was good.
I just thought that was really solid. That because it just came out like it was just very nondescript. It's not like he made a deal about it. It just came out of his mouth, just flowed like the river, man. It was just great. That was fantastic. We need more of that. They ought to have to play Baylor about 6 times every year.
That'd be great.
All right. The most interesting game, as always. If OSU's never the most interesting game, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. All right. If you'd said something to me just a month ago, I would have said Cowboys are going to roll up the Longhorns, even with a conservative offense. They're going to roll up the Longhorns. And I have had a total change of heart from one play. Watching that last touchdown from that game against Cal where Hurd broke the blitz. I said to somebody, and I put it on Twitter. I said to somebody I was talking to on the phone that don't blitz, California, don't blitz. If you blitz and you miss this kid, he's gone. And sure enough, they blitzed and they didn't contain him, and he wandered from hash to hash, and finally went into the damned end zone. And I'm looking at that play going, oh my God, we may be fucked next week.
Nah.
No?
We can get pressure without blitzing, though.
Well, that's the whole thing. They've got to be really disciplined. All right. They can't just come flying in there, because if they do that, if you miss that kid, he's gone.
Well, but again, but look at how that game ended. Like, they still scored and everything's cool, and they were going to tie it up. That is a miserable play how it ended, but it's still. I think the key is not blitzing. Well, not blitzing, but also, I mean, we have the type of. I don't know what I think, but I think Oba is going to probably murder him on about play 5 or so. But also, Cal had no tape on this kid, none.
Yeah.
So they might think, hey, let's go get him. He's never played, whatever. Not knowing, because they're not as familiar as we are around here, these kids. So
yeah,
a week's worth of tape is going to hurt them a lot, because now they've seen what Hurd can do. Just bring your front four. I would, again, they don't pay me to coach, but I just keep a linebacker spy on them.
Well,
or a safety spy, something like that.
Well, they've talked about using Burton that way at the star linebacker position. I tell you, it wouldn't bother me one bit if like you said, about the 3rd or 6th play or sometime in the first quarter, either Ogba or Bean,
or both.
Well, Ogba or Bean catch him where he tries to maybe break away, and they just pancake him.
That'd be good.
Or they sandwich him.
But let me ask you, besides him, who on Texas scares you on their offense?
Nobody. Well, I'll say this. Johnson's fast, but they obviously are struggling to figure out ways to get him the ball. And it all comes down to if OSU plays defense to neutralize Hurd's strength, which is his ability to scramble. If they do that, does that expose them to other things going on? All right. I think our secondary has not been severely tested. I wouldn't think they're going to get severely tested here any more than, say, they did against Central Michigan. Hurd's not some dude. I don't think he's a guy that's going to go out there and sling it all over the field in an air raid style, for 450 yards. But I just, there's nobody. I mean, I'm looking at that going, well, if you can figure out how to defend him and kind of keep him, minimize his scrambling yardage. I mean, Hurd, look at how much he's played. He's their number 1 rusher.
Yeah, for one game. My biggest concern is still our offensive line. But if we can rush for between Carson and Childs, if we get 150 to 200 between the two of them, because one thing I've liked, in every game, we've had like 11 different receivers get receptions. Now, probably won't happen this game, but I do like this year. Yes, we don't have a Dez or a Justin or something like that, but we have, whenever we've had Dez or like Blackman, somebody like that, we've never had 2 other guys that could also catch. It was 90% of the passes went to this guy, and then the others were just to keep them honest. Now we've got, you can't defend, you can't double up on anybody. You got a single coverage every receiver when we go 4 or 5 wide.
Right. And our pass blocking has actually, against lesser opponents, mind you, but our pass blocking has been decent. Rudolph has been excellent. You think about this. The guy has hit 3 games. He's hit 11 different receivers, 12 different receivers, and 11 different receivers, while at the same time completing just under 70% of his passes. And these aren't, there were some swing passes in the first couple of games, that shit lateral pass that we all hate. All right. But he threw the ball. He's been throwing the ball more downfield of late, and his completion percentage is not falling. I mean, he's hitting a lot of different guys. That means you're going through progressions. It means your protection is at least enough to give him a chance to move around in the pocket a little bit. I thought the touchdown to Glidden was ridiculous, where the dude tried to wrap him high, and he just kind of went under it and then stepped up and sort of one-armed it to Glidden. I mean, that was crazy. But my problem coming into this game is twofold. Hurd is kind of a wild card. I'm sorry. For me, he's just a bit of a wild card. All right. And the other part of this that's a bit of a wild card for me is how they run our offense down there. All right. This is Gundy's offense. I don't care what you say. Yursich is not the architect of this offense.
No.
All right. The architect of this offense is Gundy. Gundy is about balance. He's about balance for the sake of balance. All right. You remember back in 08 and 09 when he's busy trying to be part of the play calling, and how the team literally averaged the same number of yards rushing and passing, all right, per game for the year. So this offense is all about Gundy. If you go into this game thinking we're going to run and pass regardless, you're going to leave Texas in this game long enough that they could break your heart. If you go out there and say we're going to do both, whichever one we start having success at, we're going to gouge you with it until you can't bleed anymore. All right. That's what Monken and Holgerson used to do. All right. They didn't care if they found that spot. If they found that nerve, you know, people have kids and the kids figure out how to step on that one nerve. Well, if they found that nerve, they would just climb on top of it with a pickaxe and go at it. All right. So that if they go down there with the attitude of we're going to run them out of the place before they even have a chance to think they're in the game, I think OSU has a shot. But if they go down there with that kind of plotting, we're going to run, we're going to pass, we're going to run, we're going to pass, and we're going to be conservative because we don't want to screw up on the road and make a mistake, then you're inviting a heartbreak, and it's going to be a stressful fourth quarter.
I think this is a real good test for how I should feel about the season. We win by 7 to 14 points. I feel happy. All right, you go win by a touchdown on the road, cool. Especially if most of the points are scored in the fourth quarter. We go down there and rely on their field goal kicker to miss again, or we lose. If we lose, I'm at that point all right, how are we gonna make a bowl? That's immediately where I go to.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. If we lose in Texas, I'm sitting there, and I said this on Twitter, and there's people that are questioning this. There are a lot of OSU people that are saying, "Hey, we got this in the bag." You know what? I hope you're right, but this is setting up to be a little bit of a mess. It could be, and I'm just not feeling it right now. And you're absolutely right. If we don't win this game, or let's say we just eke it out, it looks a little messy and we eke out a win, you look down the road, West Virginia in Morgantown, all right? Kansas State is a disciplined team. TCU is still good. Baylor's still very good. Texas Tech in Lubbock. You got a boatload of games. You got OU at the end of the season, who their offense at least is looking better. You got a lot of games on the schedule that you're like, I don't know if we can win that game for sure. So, despite us feeling a little better about some things and having Rudolph, this could end up turning into the year that we don't make a bowl if they stumble.
Until proven otherwise, I'll still trust Glenn Spencer in that defense, especially this year. God, they're good.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking we can, with Hurd, I don't think we can hold them under 10 like we have the rest of the season, but I think if we keep them under 24, we should win by 10 points or more.
Yeah.
Start letting them get in the 30s.
Yeah, that's gonna get.
I haven't seen a lot of our famous throw a pass and incomplete, throw a pass and incomplete, throw a pass and incomplete, and punt. The old 37-second series 3 and out. I don't miss those.
No, the 37-second 3 and out series I don't miss. The problem I've got is we have too many 3 and outs.
Yeah.
As a percentage of the drives, you guys saw that the other day that I did with way too many 3 and outs as a percentage of the drives that aren't productive. That's not good. So King's still feeling it. He's thinking Glenn Spencer might have an answer for this, and OSU comes out of DKR with a win. But I'm going on record right now, and y'all can hate my guts, but I'm an old school Oklahoma State guy. So part of me predicting this is knowing that if I predict a win, we're probably going to lose. So I'm predicting that Herd's probably going to give everybody ulcers and break our heart at the end of the game, something like a 38-35 type of deal. Maybe 31-28, who knows? But that's kind of where I'm going. I'm going to stick to what I said on Big Mike's University of Texas radio show the other night. So King's still feeling it, though. He's thinking Cowboys will eke it out. So, all right, gang, look for a few extra notes from King tomorrow when we put this up. If you were on live with us, thanks a lot. If you see this on Friday, have a great Orange Friday, and go Pokes.
Go Pokes.